all you other homesteader wannabes out there. Today has not been necessarily an exciting day. More hauling stuff down to the property. We're getting ready to mount our solar panels and get our solar shed up so that we can have some power out there. And so today I just hauled the trailer down with the supplies and all that we need for that, as well as our solar panels and all. So nothing too exciting there, other than it recently snowed and the roads for the most part were still pretty wet and a little snowy. So the traveling was a little slow and careful. But anyway, and I was just leaving just now, and the sky was absolutely gorgeous. And so I snapped a couple pictures. Hopefully they're good and you can see them now. All right. That's pretty cool. Wow. There is some beautiful sunrises and sunsets and everything out here. So, but as I was traveling out here, well, let me tell you, so with the snow that we got where we live in town, the family we're renting their basement, and they have 6 boys, and the youngest 3 boys, after that snow, got out there and rolled themselves up some big old snowballs. And I saw them there yesterday, and I thought, oh, they were trying to build a snowman, or maybe they did build a snowman and then knocked it over, or what, I don't know. But they're pretty good sized snowballs. I mean, probably 3 feet across. So, but they're all put all together. And today, when I went out there, they were out there hollowing out those 3 snowballs that were together and making themselves a little igloo. It was so cute. And they were just working hard at it. They almost had it done. One of them was inside there digging away and shoving the snow out. And they're all cold and freezing. Their hands are cold, but they're just going for it and working hard. Anyway, I was traveling out here, just thinking about that, and it just one, I was just so impressed with their industriousness. Is that a word? Whatever. They were working hard, and it made me think about when I was a kid and working on different projects and things, building forts and igloos and same type of stuff that they do. They've got a tree out in the backyard too. They built a little fort in, and when we're young, we tend to do that. But then sometimes as we get older, we kind of lose that. We're not as industrious that way, maybe, and just looking for things to do all the time, build new things. But I think that sometimes we need to try to gain some of that back. In fact, one of the questions we always get, which maybe we should have had in the video, our last video, was, "Are you sure you want to do this at your age?" I don't know what they're talking about. I mean, I'm in my 30s. I mean, why? Right? I mean, why wouldn't I? They're crazy. I was listening to an interview of, I think it was Clint Eastwood one time, and somebody was asking him about how it is that he can do so much even in his later years here, and he was in his 80s, and I'm pretty sure it was Clint Eastwood. And he says, "I don't let the old man in," and that kind of stuck with me. And I thought, that's a good philosophy. Don't let the old man in. So, and I purposely think about that a lot. At times when I'm thinking, oh, I don't know, I think, no, Clint, don't let the old man in. So, anyway, um, I got sidetracked. As I was thinking about the boys building the igloo, it reminded me of when I was younger, and there was a group of us in our teenage years that started to, on a yearly basis around Christmas time, go on a snow camping trip. And it was sometimes just a little bit before Christmas and sometimes just a little bit after Christmas. But we'd plan this out, and we lived in the Sacramento area, and we would go up into the Sierras and with our backpacks and take a tent and all our supplies, and we hiked back into the mountains in the snow and camp for a few days and just have a good time, do different things, hike around, explore. But we often talked about building an igloo, and oh, I'm going to go back because I just thought so that little tradition of ours, we kept that going on every year, and um, and then we each left for a period of time to go on a mission for our church. And when we came back, we started getting it going again. And it wasn't as regular, and different people had done it at different times. But at one point, when me and two brothers, we went on this trip, and we got up there, and it ended up being the most miserable trip we'd ever had. We we took normally we would take snowshoes with us, and but oftentimes never even needed them. But this time we thought, no, we won't take them. Well, we needed them, but we didn't have them. And one of the guys was in charge of bringing a toboggan so that we could load a few extra things on and carry that behind us. Well, he brought an inflatable toboggan, and it did not work well. We'd stack stuff on there, and the stuff would just fall over. It'd fall over the side. So it ended up having to have one person behind trying to keep it upright all the time as we took it out. But the thing that really ended up making it miserable is we took off and we started heading in, and the weather, we weren't making it into our typical spot that we would go to, and and so we ended up stopping along the way to camp for the night. We set up our tent, got everything set up. We go to bed, and it was freezing cold. It was so cold, I could not sleep. I I kept thinking, I was just shivering, and I kept thinking the other guys were asleep. I thought they're sleeping, and I'm sitting there freezing to death. And finally, I heard one of them say something, do something, and I said, "Are you guys awake?" And they're like, "No, we're freezing to death." And so anyway, we did some things. We tried to do things to pass the time because we weren't sleeping. We were so cold. So we were trying to play cards and things like that just to pass the time. So anyway, we're grateful when the morning came, sun come up, and we grabbed our stuff and headed into our typical site. Well, we typically chose a site that was it was a girls' camp. No, there were no girls there then. Middle of winter, yeah, there was no access there. But we did that because we always thought, well, if something really bad happened, there were cabins there that we could get into to protect ourselves or whatever. Well, we got there that night or that day, and it was still so freezing cold that we decided we're going to sleep inside one of those cabins, and they weren't locked, so we could go inside. Before that, we'd always stayed out in our tent and and just roughed it. But this time we said we are staying inside because it is so cold, and we didn't sleep the night before. So, and they had cots in there. So anyway, we we did that. We went inside. Well, it was still so cold inside those cabins that we did not sleep well again. It was just miserable again. So by the time morning came, we were all sick and tired of it, and we were planning on staying longer. But we said, let's pack it in. Let's get out of here. Let's go home. And so, well, the weather changed during that morning, and it warmed up. And as we're packing up and getting ready to go, it starts to rain. And as we're leaving, we're getting rained on and getting soaking wet. And we're hiking out, and we're just miserable. We're just like, let's get out of here. We just gotta get out of here. And so we're hiking out and just getting soaked. And then the weather changes and it starts to turn to snow. And pretty soon it is a blizzard. It is coming down hard. And we are trudging through the snow as it's building up and building up, getting deeper and deeper. We don't have snowshoes. We're trying to drag that stinking toboggan behind us that is just basically dragging through the snow and falling over with our stuff. And we have to hike up over this mountaintop to get to our truck. And we're hiking, and it is getting so miserable, and it is so difficult. I've been asked before in an interview for a job, what was the most difficult thing you've ever done in your life? Well, I relayed this story because I literally began to wonder if we were going to get out of there, because we were working so hard. I felt like we could hardly go anywhere, any distance. We were freezing, we're wet, the blizzard. Anyway, I'm ready to just say, dump the stuff. Let's get ourselves out of here and get safe. And but before we did that, I said, let's, or maybe it was one of the other guys said, let's just say we're going to take so many steps and then take a rest, and then so many steps. So we just keep on going. Like, okay. And in my mind, I'm thinking like, okay, like 20. And one of the brothers, Andy, he says, okay, 150. I'm like, what? I can hardly take 20 steps, let alone 150 steps. Well, I got to say, Andy saved my life. he was a workhorse, and he kept trudging and just making me go. We ended out making it out. Obviously, I'm here, but it was so hard, and I really began to wonder if we were going to make it at all. But that was quite an exciting experience. And after all those years of going snow camping every year, we never went again. And we often talked about, oh, let's take our wives out and we'll take snowmobiles and go to a cabin or something like that and do that instead. But we never did make it out again. And it was quite an experience. But anyway, back to the igloo. So we always talked about building an igloo, and we tried several times to build an igloo while we were there. But the snow was never right. We could never, it just wouldn't hold together and everything. But one year we were there, and the ice or the snow, for whatever reason, had got packed just right to where we could literally cut blocks of snow / ice, whatever, packed snow out, and we started building an igloo. And we just started stacking them in a circle and kept building it up and bringing it in, and finally capped it off, and we built an igloo that all of us could get into. It was amazing. And we even talked about sleeping in it, but none of us felt totally safe. We were afraid that we may have thought it was strong and secure right then, but in the middle of the night we can see it falling on us and killing us. But we had a blast doing that. In the end, it was dusk by the time we were done and all. We went out putting a lantern inside the igloo, and the igloo would just glow. And it was strong enough that we could stand up on top of it. We had all of us standing on the igloo taking a picture. It was pretty neat. And I wish that I knew where that picture was now. I keep hoping that one day it'll be in the midst of a bunch of other pictures and we'll find that and I'll have that. But that was that was a fun time, a great memory. And I just I love the fact that those boys were building an igloo and just having a blast doing it and digging it out. And when I got this morning, Brady and I went over to load stuff on the trailer, and we came back. I showed Brady the igloo that they were building, and he loved it too. And I said, Brady, you got to climb into that. And so he did. And you can see pictures of him in the igloo now. Can you believe that? He could fit in it. Those and then while he's in there and I'm taking the picture, the youngest of the boys comes up and I say, Asher, you need to get in there too. And so he climbed inside and I took a picture of them both. You can see that now. Pretty cool. How fun is that? Well, so there's my challenge for me and for you. Don't let the old man or old lady or whatever person that's in your brain that's telling you, nah, I don't need to do that, or oh, I don't feel like it. Go for it. Get off your butt and do it. That's what I got to tell myself all the time. So anyway, have a lovely day. We'll see you next time. Ciao. See that, Brady? Ciao. Hey, and bonus footage for those of you who stayed after all the way to the end. I just took a cool picture of the moon and the mountains and the color. Take a look at this. All right, see you. Bye.